It could have been one of those old fights that went 20, 30 rounds. The bell rang to end the 12th round, and it was like, you know, they were saying 12 rounds isn't enough. We need to go until somebody can't go anymore.
And new heavyweight champion of the world, Riddick.
And it was devastating to me. Did he win? Oh, yeah. He won. And he won it the right way. He took the fight.
Riddick Bowe emphatically answered any doubts about his resolve.
His heart had always been questioned, and I felt like, God damn it, question this. Look at this man, look at this athlete, look at this competitor.
And Holyfield's valor showed that a heavyweight champion could be measured by qualities other than power.
There is no doubt whatsoever that the 10th round completely won over all the skeptics for Holyfield.
Following the loss, Holyfield briefly considered retirement before winning a decision over journeyman Alex Stewart in June of 1993. Bowe's life, of course, changed overnight. The heavyweight championship is what you make of it, and Bowe's manager, the newcomer Rock Newman, intended to make a lot of it.
I remember thinking, Rock Newman has a heavyweight champion. We're going to see some entertaining things.
Newman had Bowe toss his WBC championship belt into a trash can, scrapping an understanding that he would fight Lennox Lewis.
If anyone has criticism of me because I fought, scratched, and clawed for my client's interest, bring that criticism on.
To further promote the personable new champion, Newman took Bowe on an Ali-like world tour. It expanded Bowe's horizons and his waistline.
I got a chance to meet the Pope. I was in Somalia, I was in Germany, I was all over the place.
By the time you get through traveling all over the world and shaking people's hand and smiling, you don't get a chance to train.
Rock Newman is a smart guy who thinks out of the box, and he was going to try to market Bowe as a world figure. He outthought himself.
To this day, a defiant Newman disagrees.
In spite of the fact that many say that the world tour had something to do with his problems, he came back, he went into training, he fought Jesse Ferguson in May. It is a fight that Eddie Futch says that he thought that Bowe looked better than he had ever looked, ever.
Whether or not the world tour adversely affected Bowe, a bigger distraction was a constant battle of the bulge.
Bowe was not a partier, was not a drinker, smoker, or drugger. What he did is he gorged himself.
If there was a piece of cake over there that was, you know, telling me to come get it, I went and got it.
It was clear when Bowe met Holyfield for the rematch that Bowe did more eating than training.
It's more than just the extra 11 pounds. He looks softer all over, right, George?
He is not proud of his body tonight.
Holyfield added 12 pounds, but it was all muscle, demonstrating that his hunger was only to recapture the title he had lost. With new trainer Emanuel Stewart, Holyfield agreed to stick to the strategy he abandoned in the first fight.
I says, we're going to beat him with rhythm, speed, techniques, moves that would make Riddick Bowe's larger size become a handicap instead of an advantage.
The change worked, as Holyfield dictated a more deliberate pace in the early rounds.
Holyfield has got the fight in his hand now. He's double jabbing. Everything he does, he moves first and then he retreats good afterwards.
By adopting a different strategic tack, Evander had thrown Riddick just enough off balance to make it a different fight.
He was standing out of harm's way. It kind of frustrated me with his movement.
Bowe throwing one punch at a time.
I was counter-punching, then I was able to lead. That second fight was, you know, it was a masterpiece.
A masterpiece that looked like it would go unfinished.
And somebody in a parachute has just landed on the edge of the ring, has been pulled away by security guards. The fight has been brought to a halt. There's a massive melee at ringside.
I see this guy come crashing into the rope. When he did that, you know, that look on my face and Riddick Bowe, like, turned around looking, he was kind of skeptical and looked back like I was joking.
I thought he seen King Kong.
Chaos.
Surreal. Just bizarre.
We were disoriented. No one knew what this meant.
I thought, this has got to be a dream. Maybe I didn't wake up in time. Couldn't be real.
The fight stopped. People reaching over and pulling him down and starting to pound him.
He got his ass thoroughly smashed. I saw Caesar's Palace security, I saw our security, I saw the Fruit of Islam, everyone converging on this guy.
I was thinking, does he have a weapon? Is he carrying a bomb?
And people began to scream, and some people pulled out their guns. I grabbed Mrs. Bowe and we hit the floor because we figured they were going to be shooting would be in our direction.
My first thought was it was an attempt on either Farrakhan or Jesse Jackson's life. Pandemonium broke out.
This is a monumental disaster. Right now, police are filing by me at ringside and grabbing this gentleman who has created a monstrosity of an interruption in the bout.
With Fan Man finally removed, the question became, what next?
I don't know what we would have done if they would have refused to fight anymore. I knew that Bowe's wife was taken on a stretcher that night.
I have just gotten word that Riddick Bowe's wife has just fainted at ringside.
Gentlemen, she's in the early stages of her 4th pregnancy.
She fainted with excitement and maybe even fear. We had to take her out.
I thought about it for a long time, standing there, if I should go with her, if I should stay here.
To the extent that we could have some coherent discussion, it really focused on him feeling a need to get out of the ring and go be with his pregnant wife versus whether or not he should stay there and fight and try to defend his title.
I never wanted people to say that Riddick Bowe was a quitter. He could have continued to fight, but he got out the ring or whatever the case may be, so I didn't want to open that door.
After a 21-minute delay, the fight resumed in round 7, already in progress.
1 minute, 50 seconds remain in the round.
Well, I suppose that if a wasp came into Picasso's studio and stung him on the nose, he'd go and get some ice and go right back to his easel, and that's what the fighters did.
Who had benefited from the delay? Bowe saw his wife in distress. Holyfield saw a weary opponent get a rest.
If it wasn't been for that man that flew in, you know, it been a short night.
When the fight resumes, he come out there, he started throwing punches. I was overwhelmed. It takes me damn to end the fight to get warmed back up, and by this time I'm behind on points.
I realized that what I have won is 6th round, but you know what? The fight is over after 12.
Left-right combination. Bowe misses with the uppercut.
Should have used my jab because he couldn't get away from the jab and he couldn't get around it, but if I had used my jab a little bit better, I don't want to fight hands down.
Riddick still had his moments.
Holyfield staying in, becoming a target. Bowe starting to heat up.
It was a really close fight. It was doggone near impossible to separate them and try to figure out who had actually won the fight.
So close, in fact, that the scoring of the disrupted 7th round played a major role in Holyfield regaining the title.
The 3 judges, one scored it for Bowe, one scored it even, one scored it for Holyfield. If the judge who scored it for Holyfield would have scored that round for Bowe, then Bowe would have kept his title, would have turned out to be a draw. And so this Fan Man may have caused a change in boxing history.
Holyfield had recaptured the title, but subsequently lost it to Michael Moore. During the course of that bout, major health concerns arose.
Rub my shoulder, my left shoulder.
Rub his left shoulder.
My left shoulder.
Evander complained of pain in his shoulder. He developed some shortness of breath, and there appeared to be an obvious problem with his heart. He was transferred back to Emory, and they concurred. They showed a model of his heart and talked about the problems.
What we see with his heart, though, is the elasticity is not quite normal, that it doesn't expand as easily as we would expect the heart to do.
Not satisfied with these conclusions, Holyfield visited a faith healer and pronounced himself fit to fight. The Nevada State Athletic Commission, however, needed medical evidence.
I'm a medical guy. I can only look at black and white and a database. So we sent Evander to the Mayo Clinic for the most intensive medical evaluation any